Yeah, today's Easter, and it's a big day for a lot of people. They believe in Easter. So what I'm going to do is just talk a little bit about what is Easter. It has nothing to do with an Easter bunny. It has nothing to do with the Pope and his relationship with Lucifer. It has nothing to do with the process of anything to do with the illusion behind all the pagan realities that go in with Easter, and even on the day that it's associated. I mean, really, if you're going to do something that's holy, you should know the day that it happened, and then bring that day back around and give honor to that day. So not just make it, happy-go-lucky Sunday. Can be any Easter. Yeah. So the reality is that Easter has to do with the resurrection of Jesus the Christ, and that influence for humanity, that influence has to do with the reality that Christ brought to the earth. And the process of death for everybody, it happens in everybody's life. Yeah, the biggest deal is that you're not aware of the fact that you reincarnate. So death is to go to sleep and then come back in a place that you have no idea of past existence or any historical aspect of your reality in life. So this is your first life, as far as you're concerned. And that's not true. Yeah, so you have within you all your previous lives, and they're emanations of you. Yeah, you might have been Joey, you might have been Jill, you may have been Jack, you may have been anybody, but you were somebody in previous lives, and each one of those people are emanations, and all those emanations affect you. Yeah, they make up the character that you are. Yeah, and if you took advantage of people, or you were taken advantage of, those have very bad outcomes to the way you look at life and how you trust people and whether or not you can be in life in any given way. Yeah. So what that is based on is the reality that we have a mind that is so limited to its cognition, to its recognition, to its ability to have a recapitulation of a previous life take place while you're alive is almost impossible, and there's a reason why. Yeah, the process of our life is stored in super higher consciousness. Yeah, and that higher consciousness is actually located just outside the planet. Yeah, in a location just beyond the biosphere. And this is scientifically understood, and there's a lot of people who understand this, and they understand that the relationship of our consciousness basically is driven by the reality that we are in our consciousness, we are down in the atmosphere, not the ionosphere or the biosphere or any relationship to the iconosphere. Yeah, so the higher relationship of our mind is based on the planet and its aura. The planet and its outer consciousness is a collective consciousness, but it's a collective consciousness of very few, because few people get to that higher consciousness up there. Yeah, so what happened when Jesus left his body was that he went interdimensional, and in that process it opened up another place within time and space, a non-relative relationship, a place where there is no time and space. It's like alpha omega. And that relationship Jesus went into that, and in that process was able to reach that iconosphere, and stored his consciousness in the iconosphere, which is where only the highest of any entities on earth can tap into that and hear it and understand it and communicate with it and be directed by it and have it in their mind. That brings about things to solve in the world. Like right now, we have a problem with the biosphere. We have a problem with the environment, and that's because it's our mind. It's our mind. Yeah, it's not a biosphere. It's not an environment that's outside ourselves, that we breathe and all that kind of stuff. It's in reality a consciousness. This whole thing around us is a consciousness, and the outer sphere of that consciousness is the ionosphere. Now, and I'm not the only one who knows this shit, so let me just point it out to you. So that's a standard understanding. Easter is the resurrection of Jesus 3 days after the crucifixion. But then there is a thing that's called the omega point. And the omega point is supposed to be in the future, when everything in the universe spirals toward a final point of unification. Yeah, omega, alpha, omega, the beginning of creation and the spiraling point where everything unifies and comes back into that. Yeah, so that omega point has everything to do with Jesus the Christ, because it's the omega point that makes Jesus the Christ the planetary logos. The omega point resembles the Christian logos, namely the Christ, who draws all things into himself, who is God from God, light from light, true God from true God, and through him all things were made. Yeah, so this is Alpha Omega. This is the Creator. This is the co-creator, the Son and God. Yeah, so this is the relationship that God has with the Son, with the Christ. And in that, the earth was created, and everything around it was created. And as part of that is consciousness, a mind that's involved in the process of the earth itself. So Christ is the cosmic Christ, or the omega of Revelation. He is an emanation of God, which is made of matter and experienced the nature of evolution by being born in the world and then dying, just as anybody else will. But our problem is that most humanity's consciousness doesn't go very far. It's extremely unevolved. The resurrection from the dead was not heaven, but to the noosphere, where Christ will be waiting at the end of time, where he becomes one with divinity, the area of convergence of all spirituality and spiritual beings, where Christ will be waiting at the end of time, where the earth reaches the omega point, and everything that exists will become one with divinity. That's the plan. That's the plan. It's an outcome plan. But it required the death of Christ and the resurrection, the life and death of Christ and the resurrection. That resurrection got him outside the planet into the higher consciousness, where he then stores his soul, his consciousness, his mind, and every activity that I carry on this earth is done up there. Every activity that I do, from the time I was born to the time that I die, that all that activity goes into the ionosphere. And the ionosphere, is the process which we all come closer to. What is the noosphere? The noosphere is the planetary sphere of mind, or thinking layer of the planet Earth. To grasp the idea of the noosphere, we must elevate our consciousness and be open ourselves to the most general, elemental, cosmic principles of life on Earth. The noosphere is the next stage of evolution of human consciousness. As the mental sheath of the planet, the noosphere characterizes the mind, consciousness, and as unitary phenomenon. This means that the quality and the nature of our individual and collective thoughts. Now imagine, you've got Putin, you've got the Pope, you got the Dalai Lama, you got all these people on earth. How do you get them to think and be blessed by the Christ, who has a totally different way of looking at life? How do the two merge? It merges by Christ taking superiority over higher consciousness. And being in that higher consciousness, it becomes a consciousness of the earth itself. So every time you reincarnate, it evolves every living human being on the earth. This means that the quality and the nature of our individual and collective thoughts directly affects the noosphere and creates the quality of our environment, the biosphere. That's why we got so much shit. The historic process is changing dramatically before our eyes. Mankind, taken as a whole, is becoming a powerful geological force. Humanity's mind and work face the problem of reconstructing the biosphere in the interest of freely thinking mankind as a single entity. This new state of the world we are approaching without noticing it. It's the noosphere. All the thoughts and ideas, oh, we need solar. Well, we make solar. How did we get to that? We need electric cars. Bam, we got electric cars. How did we get to that? It comes from this state of mind that's more open in that level of consciousness than it is on a lower level of consciousness. So as I raise everybody up into this consciousness, we start having collective consciousness, and we decide on things that are Christ-like. The return of Christ as the fulfillment of the noosphere, as well as the consummation of all the universe, according to the law of time, the end of linear time begins the time of the noosphere and the return of Christ consciousness. That's pretty awesome, yeah?
All